edition of SlaMMA. I'm Big Daddy Cliff.
And I, of course, am Heartbreakin, Howie.
This is going to be an awesome edition of SlaMMA, as there's nothing really going on other than some smaller than UFC shows.
Yeah, this is actually our 12th episode, man.
Wow.
And like Chris just mentioned, we're just going to kind of do some recapping, talk about all the latest news in the UFC. We don't really have a card quite yet to run down like we normally do because that's still a couple weeks out. We're going to indulge you guys in some of the great things going on in the world of MMA right now.
Yeah, because there's like something new every day. I mean, it could be
my gosh.
Fedor falls down and breaks his ankle.
Yeah, exactly. Or
toe.
Rampage gets another woman pregnant, you know. It's always something. Yeah.
He loves his woman.
Well, would you like to get started with our first bit of news?
Well, the first thing I guess we'll start with then is we'll start out with Frank Mir saying he turned down a fight with Fabricio Verdun because he didn't want to have to hurt another Brazilian in Brazil.
That's basically what he said, but I think he's afraid. He's afraid that if for some reason he did beat Verdun, or if he broke his arm, heaven forbid, that they'd have his head on a stick there in Brazil.
Right.
So that's...
I honestly think that he might be a little less. They might be a little less concerned with him.
There's another target.
There's some other guy up there that's going to be there that same weekend.
We'll get to him a little bit later.
Yeah. So that I still like his Frank Mir's fight coming up.
Yeah.
With,
now he's going to be fighting Cain. Yeah, Cain Velasquez, and it's actually a number one contenders fight. So winner of that fight fights the winner of Junior Dos Santos and Alistair Overeem.
Yeah, we can see how Cain comes back after his first loss. I think Cain has better striking than Nogueira, who pretty much outstruck Frank Mir in the last fight, and he was pretty much out on his feet there.
Exactly. It was a very quick occurrence that resulted in the arm break there, as we were talking about earlier. Nogueira basically was dominating that fight before they were kind of rolling on the ground, and Mir got the dominant position on him. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, let's see. It's a couple months away. On that whole heavyweight card, we get to see Frank Mir fight on. So we'll see what happens.
It's going to be the shortest UFC event in history with 5 heavyweight fights on the main card.
Yeah, well, I really wanted to see Dan Hardy versus Dwayne Ludwig. So
maybe they'll show that.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get that on there and get to see, because I'm pretty sure Dwayne Ludwig's going to knock him out pretty quick.
And if that does happen, then Dan Hardy's going to be packing his bags once again to leave the UFC, I think.
Yeah.
So, which is unfortunate, but them's the breaks.
Yeah.
All right. Well, our next bit of news is it's a little bit of a sad story, because recently Miguel Torres was traveling around Canada and he couldn't find any tacos. So this one's for you, Miguel. Hopefully you found those tacos.
Okay, let's get back on track here. So, got some other news that we saw going on, that King Mo decided to stop taking his medication there, and decided that if he was going to die, then he'll die if he stops taking his medication.
And in his own words, much like Ivan Drago in Rocky, just the opposite of that. He said, if I die, I die.
It's kind of crazy because of all he went through. I don't think I've ever heard of anyone going through as many surgeries as he went through. He was pretty close to dying there. It's sad, kind of sad story.
It is a sad story. He seems a little bit unstable,
big up and comer.
Too. You know,
let's see what happens. Let's see if he gets a full recovery from all these what are they called?
Surgeries?
Staph infection.
Oh, yeah.
Bad staph infection. King Mo, we'll hope you get a full recovery. Hope to see you back out there.
See if he gets back to Strikeforce or if he goes to the UFC.
Now that Rampage is gone, maybe we could see him in the UFC.
He could be the replacement for Rampage.
Yeah. Similar
personalities, kind of the wrestling promos that they deliver, kind of thing like that.
Well, he's also, I don't know what was going on with he took some illegal substance.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if he's been suspended. They really haven't brought out too much information. I don't know if he's been to the hearing or anything about that, because
of all the stuff he's had going on.
So we'll see what happens. I know he was in trouble before, so we'll keep you informed on another episode to find out what's going on down the line.
We'll keep you posted. Well, next we're going to go ahead and talk a little about the most recent season of The Ultimate Fighter, which started a couple weeks ago.
It's been pretty good so far.
Yeah, and
Chase Hackett losing.
I know.
He was robbed.
We'll see Chase again, though. So, initially, Uriah Faber got the first pick, and he picked who he felt was his best guy in Darren Cruikshank to take on James Vick from Team Cruz. And James Vick ended up knocking him out in the second round with actually a knee. I think he mentioned that he was going to throw a kick, and Cruikshank just happened to duck down at just the right moment, and he caught him with the knee before he could even extend the leg for the kick. So that put Dominic Cruz's team up 1-0.
Yeah, it was a crazy fight. I don't think anyone expected that to happen. I thought Cruikshank was actually going to win that fight.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then the next fight, which was this most recent last week, saw Cristiano Marcelo from Team Faber taking on Justin Lawrence, and the result was almost exactly the same, with Team Cruz winning in the second round by knockout, this time via punches. So a little word to the SlaMMA Nation out there. If you have a bet with anyone and you have Uriah Faber's team in the bet, much like I do, then you're in deep trouble right now. So let's hope for some Faber wins, not because we're rooting for Faber, but because we don't like to lose bets.
Yeah. It's been a pretty good show so far. I like the whole new setup. Ratings seem to be steady. I think around 1.5 viewers, something like that. Not quite like what the Brazil episode had, like 8 million.
Oh my gosh,
huge! But I think they only have one channel in
Brazil. I really like how they do the pre-tape parts where they're in the house and everything, and then they bring it back to the live show when they get ready to do the fights. I'm really enjoying the live fights. It's pretty cool because there's no spoilers or anything like that. They were pretty good in the past about preventing spoilers, but this just ensures that there won't be any. Except if you're in Colorado and you have Comcast, Comcast keeps preempting it and showing it at like 11 or 12 o'clock at night. So that's not fun. If you have DirecTV, you have a slight advantage. And again, I've got Comcast, so I'm either waiting until late at night or catching a stream online. What?
I didn't hear nothing. Okay, so that's it for the first half of our show today. We're going to take a real quick commercial break. We'll be right back after these messages.
Hi, Heartbreakin Howie Mays here with another fantastic product. Are you one of a million that bought one of these Denver Broncos Tim Tebow jerseys and now you're wondering what to do with it? Well, we've got the product for you because now in this special one-time offer, you can get the Tebow to Manning jersey kit for only $19.95 in just 3 easy steps. You can take your Tebow, flip it around like this, then take the Manning to Tebow, Tebow to Manning jersey kit, and voila! Your jersey goes from loser to winner in just one easy step. But I'm not done, because we've got to turn this 15 into an 18. So in just 2 more easy steps, you can do just that with the Tebow to Manning jersey kit. Are you ready for this, folks? Because this is remarkable. The way the fibers bind with each other to create the 18 out of what was once a 15 is just truly amazing. And when you call now, you can get not only 1, not even 2, but 3 of the Tebow to Manning jersey kits for only $19.95. And this, my friends, is what the finished product looks like. You've got the Tebow to Manning jersey kits. Call now!
All right, welcome back to SlaMMA. I'm Big Daddy Chris.
And I am Heartbreakin Howie. And what do you think about that product there? I mean, the Tim Tebow to Peyton Manning jersey kit, I think that's going to be pretty hot seller in Denver.
I got to give me one of those.
Oh, yeah, me too.
I never had a Tebow jersey, but I like a Manning jersey.
I would too, yeah.
Statistically, the greatest quarterback of all time.
Exactly, and he's just going to keep on going. So
he'll break all Howie's passing records, I think. I'm not sure if he's beat him, but he's pretty close.
I think he's beat all of them already. Yeah, it's kind of sad. But
all right, so let's get to what we're going to talk about next here, since we really don't have a whole lot going on for another month. Ben Henderson and Frankie Edgar are going to have their rematch. I'm sure you've already heard this news. It's kind of old, but I think it's going to be a good fight.
I think it's going to be a good fight.
So this one's going to be a good one.
I just want to see Edgar fight somebody.
Well,
you know,
he's going to come in better than before. Each rematch he's had, he's come in better, and the result has been different. I think if that up kick didn't knock him down, he'd have won that fight.
It's very possible.
So I think Edgar's going to come out and he's going to win a 5-round decision. He's going to win this fight. Probably all 5 rounds.
I'm a Ben Henderson fan, so I think that Ben's going to take this one here, and he's going to learn from his mistakes in this fight. But I don't know. I mean, I just think that they had the match set up already, Ben Henderson versus Pettis. Seemed like that was going to happen, and then Pettis had to get surgery. So I think Edgar was very fortunate in this situation, because it didn't seem at first like Dana White was going to give him the rematch. He seemed pretty adamant about saying, no, we're going to have a different fight here. But then Edgar was allowed to go plead his case and say that he had given 2 guys instant rematches, and he felt that it was his turn to get his rematch. So in that regard, I think it's fair.
Yeah,
but,
I think he deserved it.
Yeah.
I'm not against it. I think I posted that I thought Henderson won pretty clearly, but after I watched the fight again, I think it was closer than I thought live. It's going to be a good fight. Hey, the first one was a good fight. Anyone that's complaining about this rematch is crazy because we're guaranteed to see another good fight.
Exactly.
Frankie Edgar's been in nothing good fight since he was a champion.
They should call him Mr. Fight of the Night because he gets those bonuses all the time.
So that's going to be a good one. Look forward to that coming out here. I don't even know. Have they said
later this year? I don't think they've set a date, but probably in the fall sometime. They're pretty set for the summer, so probably later in like October, November, something like that.
Let's see what happens.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for everyone's favorite segment, the SlaMMA WTF Moment of the Week. What the? And this time, we're talking about a pretty popular fighter.
Very popular.
Very, maybe one of the most popular fighters in the history of the UFC. And that would be none other than Quentin Rampage Jackson. He's kind of become somewhat of a diva as of late, you know?
I don't know what his deal is. He just thinks that he's underappreciated by the UFC, even though they're probably paying him more than just about 99.9% of the UFC. And, he's a big draw. I just think he's getting beat by everybody now.
I think a lot of it stemmed from, like he said, in the his most recent fight in Japan. He went into the fight knowing that he had an injured knee because he didn't want to let down his fans in Japan. And yet, after the fight, even after the UFC knew that he was injured, they were very critical of his performance, saying that Bader destroyed him, blah blah blah. So I think that kind of pushed him the wrong way. But I think he's kind of asking for that.
It seems to me like. He asked for the Shogun fight. He's been asking for it for about a year now. He gets the fight, and then all of a sudden he has knee surgery. So you just locked in one of the UFC's top guys, and now they're not going to fight for God knows how long with knee surgeries. It could be another year.
Yeah, and that was the thing with the situation. Rampage was so upset that he requested his release from the UFC. He's got one fight left on his contract, so they were able to kind of come to a compromise and say, hey, we're going to give you the Shogun fight you wanted, and then Rampage had to have double knee surgery. So it's going to be quite some time before we see Rampage back in the cage, and when we do,
it's his last fight.
It's going to be his last fight in the UFC. Though we have had situations like this with Rampage before, when he was filming the A-Team, where it looked like he wasn't going to fight for the UFC again, and they hatched things out. So
he might be using this for more money.
He might be using it for leverage.
Oh. That's the moment of the week.
good one there. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Killer Kayla with breaking news. This just in, Kimbo Slice has won his fourth boxing match with 3.3 seconds remaining. Now back to you, Heartbreakin, Howie, and Big Daddy Chris.
So, like I said before, Tough Brazil had 8 million viewers last night.
8 million? That's crazy.
2 nights ago. Huge
opening. There must not have been a football match on that night.
There's so much talent in Brazil. I'm really happy because it always seems like these guys are coming in with good records. And, you hear about them through the internet or you hear through the grapevine. This guy's a big up-and-comer. Comes in the UFC and just terrorizes the UFC.
And most of the time you don't see him until they actually come to the UFC.
Right.
So what is it? Is it Fuel TV that's being broadcast on?
I think it'll be on Fuel, all subtitled, so you'll be able to...
And they actually posted, too, on the UFC website that they will have a live stream, usually around midnight U.S. time, featuring that show, where you can watch it live. It will have the subtitles, too, so I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I didn't watch it last night. I plan on watching it probably in the next couple of days to see how it turned out, but I'm hearing nothing but good things about it.
And the coaches we forgot to mention are 2 men who will face each other at an upcoming pay-per-view, actually UFC 147, and that is Vitor Belfort and the Axe Murderer Wanderlei Silva. So that's going to be a really good
that's
fight.
the co-main event of the Chael Sonnen and Anderson Silva fight.
Yeah.
And they also announced that it's going to be in an 80,000-seat soccer stadium.
It's ridiculous. 80,000 people. And they're all going to be Brazilian fans.
They're going to be going crazy.
You
saw the last UFC Rio when Jose Aldo ran into the crowd. Imagine if Anderson Silva.
And there's probably half the people at that one that's going to be at this one. So it's going to be a pretty big event. Big fights. The main event with Anderson Silva against Chael Sonnen, the rematch.
It's actually both rematches, but
I gotta say, Sonnen is pretty brave to be going into this situation here in Brazil because. It could be pretty dangerous.
To Frank Mir.
Right? Yeah. They better have a helicopter ready to fly him out of the arena just in case.
Yeah, well, he's going to be leaving in a stretcher, so I think...
with his head hung low.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
We'll see. We definitely will see what happens.
Next, we got Dan Henderson has been waiting since Shogun for a title shot that has not came.
He feels that it should be him instead of Rashad Evans fighting John Jones.
Even though Rashad Evans has probably been waiting for a title shot since the last time Dan Henderson.
Well, I think we talked about this before on SlaMMA, how I believe that at a certain point, Rashad's got to relinquish his number one contendership. I mean, I know he came back and he won his fight, so he's definitely the deserving number one contender now. But, you know.
Yeah, well, I see Dan Henderson because all these Strikeforce guys have come in and got their title shots.
And he was the Strikeforce champion, you know?
Yeah.
He relinquished his belt to come in and fight Shogun, so.
He beat Fedor. He
beat Fedor. Yeah, I think he deserves it. So he's kind of waiting now to see what happens with the John Jones and Rashad Evans situation, and also potentially the
I think whichever fight situation. He can get first, he'll take. He lost to Silva once already. I pretty much see that happening again. John Jones, I think it's too big.
Yeah.
Too big. He's the future. Dan Henderson is not in the same league.
It's going to be hard to see anyone becoming the new light heavyweight champion unless John Jones moves up to heavyweight and relinquishes that title.
Right. I think when a couple years ago when the UFC bought Pride, everybody thought what had been happening would happen, which the title would just, switch hands over and over and over again. Mm-hmm. And then this kid came in and destroyed everybody. And it's just been dominant. So
we'll see
what Rashad Evans has to bring. I don't think, he's talking all this talk about how he has his number and this and that. We're looking at a guy that's 5'10". Yeah. His reach isn't even close. John Jones knows how to use his reach. He's very strong. Obviously, he's got submissions. Mm-hmm. I don't think I've seen Rashad really. I'd really like to see John Jones choke him out. Get that frustration out. Knock him out, something. I don't know what's going to happen.
And his last two wins have come by submission.
He's the only man ever to finish, Shogun, Rampage, Machida. List goes on and on.
And Rashad has never lost. So this is
no one has done this. Fedor
lost, but
not been the only guy to ever do something like Anderson Silva has done things like this, but not to people of this kind of talent.
Exactly.
He's defeated, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 top guys. And all that's left is Rashad, and Rashad does not, in my opinion, doesn't stand a chance. People are saying, "Oh yeah, he's got a puncher. He's got that puncher's chance. He's got that."
Everyone's got that though. That
Rampage had that.
Yeah,
punch.
Exactly.
Shogun had punch. Shogun had kicks. Machida
had more than a puncher's chance.
Machida was going all over, and then what happened?
Yeah.
Jones just timed him, hit him with the left, and down he went. But I think Jones. From my understanding, what I heard was. Jones, if Gustafsson wins, Gustafsson's probably in there. Henderson's in there. After that,
not many guys left, though.
Yeah, from my understanding, if Gustafsson gets his, probably 1 or 2 more wins, he'll get a title shot. You look at Henderson next, probably within the next 3 or 4 months, as much as Jones wants to fight. This could be the last year we see Jones at 205. He moves up to heavyweight.
Well, he already asked to move up to heeweight.
Yeah, so we'll just see what happens. Sorry for all the John Jones.
Well, no, I mean, I think, too, that
it's unbelievable.
Rashad, like you were saying, Rashad's been saying how he has his number, and even if he did maybe, take him down a little bit in a practice, how long has it been since these guys have actually trained together? Yeah, and how much has John Jones evolved since that, Yeah. I mean, Rashad, I know guys get better as time goes on, but Rashad is he's at his peak. He might be at his limit, whereas John Jones is still like a sponge. He's still learning every day.
I guess you got to look at it. I guess you're right. You got to look at it like John Jones hasn't trained with Rashad since before he won the title. Mm-hmm. So all these big names that he's beat without training with Rashad.
Exactly.
So I don't think Rashad
he's a completely
has
different fighter now.
He's come into
exactly.
He hasn't hit his full potential.
And it's like every single fight, John Jones comes out and does something we haven't seen him done before. He's got his signature move, the spinning back elbow and things like that. But he's always like with the Rampage fight when he crawled into the cage like Spider-Man. Like what the hell was that? And it's just things like that give him the advantage.
Well. That's our John Jones segment for today.
Yeah.
I think we're going to move on
John Jones Hour.
A couple days ago, UFC announced they're going to hold a couple events in Canada this year. They're going to have 149 in Calgary, 152 in Toronto, and 154 in Montreal.
And they're probably hoping that GSP will be ready to fight for at least one of one of those cards.
I'm betting we probably see maybe Frankie Edgar in like a Toronto card.
I could see that.
GSP in the Montreal card. And then maybe we'll see John Jones in the Calgary card.
That'd be nice.
Just throwing that out there. But either way, it's we got a lot of stuff.
It's worldwide. It almost seems like the events that happen in the United States are few and far between because UFC is just worldwide, global now. So it's awesome.
Well, I think that's about it for the show.
That's all the time we have for tonight.
Hope you guys enjoyed our little mini SlaMMA update we got going on here. We like to talk more about the cards, I think, than giving out news.
Yeah.
There's people out there that are more into finding the news.
Let us know definitely what you think of this episode. This is our 12th episode. The next episode we do will be lucky number 13. Pretty excited about that.
It's a good one. We always have good ones.
We'll see you then. So if you haven't yet, like our Facebook page. Tell your friends to like our Facebook page. We're up to 128 followers now, and we want to keep going with that. So
we're going to
do us a favor.
200 by
Yeah,
summer.
Exactly. Follow us on Twitter as well at SlaMMA TV and
Facebook
SlaMMA.tv.
SlaMMA.tv. Thanks. Have a good night.
Who are you?
Howard.
And who are you?
She's Dad. Chris.
And what are you guys doing?
Doing this one.
Doing